See, we are starting with a new chapter called as anti-anginal agents. Okay, so the anti-anginal agents or the anti-anginal drugs, these are the drugs useful in the treatment of angina pectoris. So, angina pectoris is the condition where there is an insufficient supply of blood, that is the oxygen, to the heart. That is, the ischemia takes place. Hence, there is no or efficient supply, less efficient supply of the oxygen or blood to the heart. So, due to this, the pain in the heart creates, and it results into the ischemia. So, why there is insufficient supply of blood takes place? So, the main reason is that the coronary atherosclerosis, it is the main responsible to cause the cardiac ischemia. Okay, so generally this is artery. This is the internal part of the artery. You can say lumen of vessels. Okay, so when there is no any cholesterol deposition or atherosclerosis in the artery, then the blood can flow normally through that artery and they can supply efficient amount of blood, that is the oxygen, to the heart. Okay, but what happens due to the atherosclerosis? Now you can see here the plaque formation of the cholesterol crystals are deposited inside the wall of artery. So when inside the wall of artery the cholesterol crystals deposition takes place, then the diameter of the artery decreases, and when the diameter of artery decreases, less amount of blood can flow through the artery, and it results into the forcefully flow of blood through the artery, and it causes the increase in the blood pressure. It increases the workload on the heart. Sometimes what happens, the remaining space, there is a blood clotting takes place, and due to that there may be chances of complete blocking of this artery, so there is no blood supply to the heart, and it results into the cardiac ischemia, or you can say heart attack. It is one of the reason there is insufficient supply of blood to the heart. Okay, so that is the some basic information regarding angina pectoris, why it takes place. Okay, so the oxygen demand to the heart and the oxygen supply to the heart, if it is equal or it is managed, that is the oxygen demand of heart, there is no problem. But what happens if due to the any condition, if oxygen demand is not completed by giving the sufficient amount of oxygen, or there is no sufficient amount of oxygen supply to the heart, this results into the ischemia. Okay, so there must be the sufficient supply of oxygen, or the what is the demand of heart. According to that, if supply of oxygen takes place, this maintains the proper health condition of the heart. If you are doing the exercise, then your heartbeat increases. Why it is increases? Because during this exercise you require more amount of oxygen to the heart. So the more amount of oxygen is supplied to the heart, more amount of blood is circulated. By pumping, there is more amount of inflow and outflow of the blood, oxygen takes place. That's why it is necessary for the heart to maintain the oxygen demand and oxygen supply. So ischemia is generally called as angina pectoris, that is the imbalance between oxygen demand and what is the supply of the oxygen. If the oxygen demand is not satisfied through the oxygen supply, it will result into the ischemia. So these angina pectoris, they are classified into exertional angina. So it is again classified into stable, initial, or accelerated angina. Then second one spontaneous, third one mixed angina. Okay, exertion angina means if you have any problem with the heart and if you are doing the exercise or any work, and at that time if there is a ischemia takes place or any insufficient supply of blood takes place, it results into the exertional angina. If spontaneous angina means you are not doing any work, you are stable. Then also if the ischemia takes place, angina takes place, it is called as the spontaneous. And mixed angina, it is the unstable angina. So एक्झिस्टल मध्ये स्टेबल अंजाना येतं, मिक्स मध्ये अनस्टेबल angina. So how the oxygen demand is determined? Okay, so this is oxygen demand is depending upon its contractility, heart rate, tension, preload, afterload, or is determines the oxygen demand of the heart. Now, we are going to the next part, that is the anti-anginal drugs. So, anti-anginal drugs, they are classified generally into these five types. First one is the nitrate derivatives. In that, short-acting nitrate derivatives, long-acting nitrate derivatives, then beta blockers, then calcium channel blockers, then potassium channel opener, and there are some miscellaneous agents or other agents which are act as anti-anginal agents. First, we will start with the nitrates. Okay, so what is the action or pharmacological action of the nitrate? Generally, this is the structure of nitrate. All the nitrate, they consist of this nitrate type of structures. So the what is the pharmacological action of these anti-anginal drugs? That is, they are responsible to dilate the vessels. So when the vessels are dilated, the workload on the heart decreases, the load on the heart reduces, and the wall tension decreases. It also redistributes the coronary circulation, which causes the dilating the artery. It causes collateral circulation and it reduces the wall tension. And this reduction in wall tension is responsible to to flow of blood through that ischemic areas. Okay, so these are the functions what these drugs for. What is the actual mechanism of action? So when we are giving the nitrates as a drug, these nitrates, they are converted into nitric oxide. Nitrates, they are converted into nitric oxide. This nitric oxide,